Watch out, watch out. Watch you wicked them all. Say the wicked them all. And come and go now. Hey, 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 hey. Watch you wicked them all. Say the wicked them all. When goes and go now. Say how we are gonna do this. Boy, ready? Ha ha ha. Ready? Boy, me say how we are gonna do this. Yes, we go down. Boy, sit down there, 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 sit down there. Boy, sit down there. Boy, sit down, sit down there. Sit down there, sit down there. Boy. Sit down there, 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 sit down there. Watch you wicked them all. Did you wicked them all? Me say how we are gonna do it. Jesus, boy, watch out. Now worry about the wicked them now. Now worry about the wicked them. Tell them neighbor, come. Now worry when they talk about you. Now worry when they tell life on you. Now worry they walk over upon you. Now worry what them say about you. Just catch it on the balance wheel. 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 Jesus, are you balance?
Yes, pleasant morning, afternoon, right? Good night, wherever you are, right? As it relates to your deck of hoods. Now, Jamaica, you know that when it comes to Friday morning, of course, you're alone with the mystic sensation, right? Flying solo. And let me say, big up yourself, Melting Pot. Anywhere you are, I know you will be tuning in, right? Big up yourself, my brother. Now, of course, you know, we are not going to start unless we endorse our Energizer bunnies in the chat. And here you go, Derek McCoy, Beverly, right? Bless up yourself, right? Always early in class at MNC 45778. Falmouth Girl, right? Charmaine, right? Splat, Venice Brooks, Carla Banks, Don Morris, Dark Artie, Laverne P9R, Richard Reed, Fiona Burnett, Rosalie Ricketts, Sonia Graham, and that Linnell McCormack. And for persons who are coming in, right, for those who are in the lobby, we are saying, and of course, Legris, let me just put up Legris motto, right? Of course, blessings everyone, right? So bless of yourself, Legris, right? Paulette, right? And here Legris is saying, right, please like, right, as usual, special agent and Joan Allen, that is, right, 8197. I want to say, you know, thank you for visiting the Mystic Sensation channel. Now, Jamaica, let me say this. Some time ago, right, I made a prediction that Jamaica Labour Party is going to destroy itself 2026. And based on what we are seeing, right, it is going to be even early 2026, right? The Jamaica Labour Party has really a dark cloud, right, over the administration, right? And it is, you know, quite telling as it relates to the high level of corruption that is just coming out. And remember, my Jamaican people, many people don't understand, right, how important for the People's National Party to monitoring the PAC and the PAAC. These are two vital committees that provide checks and balance. And these are the two committees that definitely they are going to break the back of the Jamaica Labour Party. Because the probity that coming from the People's National Party members of parliament, and rightly so, right, headed by Julian Robinson, there is no way the Jamaica Labour Party can escape what to come. And I am looking, last night I've been going through some documents, and you know, it's really terrible, and worse left to come. Now, my Jamaican people, let me break down some of this, right? Because obviously Flavor Williams, right, is not so comfortable. I don't know what, let me say that specifically clear, I don't know what the revelation is in terms of, you know, what is going on there. But, you know, some level of uncomfortness, right, as it relates to Flavor Williams, right? We know very well that Darrell Vaz under intense investigation, right? And as I said, and I am 100% sure that, you know, the Auditor General coming out in July to September as it relates to the findings of the school buses, right? Darrell Vaz is going to take away himself. So, you know, I mean, so many windows are opening, right, for us to look into the corruption room, and it is just dark. And believe you me, right, I honestly don't see how JLP, right, is going to escape this. There is no room for them to escape. They just can't. And, you know, I am laughing because that was one of the reasons why Andrew Holness held on to the PAC and the PAAC, because the level of corruption that he had done and he had orchestrated, he knew at the time, right, that if the People's National Party get a hold of those two oversight committee, it's over for them. It's over for them. And as I said, and I will always repeat this, that after the stealing of the general election, right, I, you know, pushed as it relates to, you know, the People's National Party getting back the PAC and the PAAC. And here it is, right? Jamaica Labour Party is in deep, deep trouble. People, what left to come as it relates to the UHWI has nothing in comparison to what Rosie wants to reveal. Right? We know that Rosie with the Donovan Williams and so forth and so forth. But the tsunami digging into UHWI, which giving reflection of many ministries as it relates to the modus operandi of the criminality and the corruption, right? It is very serious. And let me show you, my Jamaican people, right, what is extremely serious. Now, guess what? We have, right, Dr. Roger Hunter, right, totally back in business. And come on, Jamaica, you and I know that Christopher Tufton, Andrew Holness, and Carl Bruce, they are not comfortable. They are not comfortable because Dr. Roger Hunter is not someone who you can corrupt. And they fought hard to get rid of Dr. Roger Hunter. Remember, Jamaica, I keep on telling you, you know, guys, that with all of what the obstacles that Andrew Holness is fighting, not wanting, right, the case to go into the judiciary. Remember, I keep on telling you, right? Remember, I licked out on the criminal justice system, right, as it relates to the investigation and the prosecution. But let me tell you something, that the judiciary, the courts, right, we have a very robust system in the court. And that is one of the reasons why, again, Ruel Reid is in a bind. Ruel Reid is in a bind. And how long Andrew Holness can prevent and fight all the obstacles from not venturing into the judiciary? It is going to happen, people. It is going to happen. Now, let me show you something. Now, and I am so happy for this, because this again is another breaking point, right? And checks and balance. And as I said, right, Christopher Tufton doesn't like this at all. Now let us get into this and bite into this in terms of what we have here. Here it is, my Jamaican people, because we have a lot more things to uncover here. Medical Appeals Tribunal overturned suspension of neurosurgeon Dr. Roger Hunter. Here is Mr. Hunter. I had spoken to Mr. Hunter some time ago, you know, right? And Mr. Hunter highlighted some of the terrible situation, right, that, you know, being happening as it relates to UHWI. And I'm happy for Dr. Hunter right now. The Medical Appeal Tribunal has overturned the suspension of neurosurgeon Dr. Roger Hunter just under a year after it was imposed by the Medical Council of Jamaica in May 2025. The three-member panel of Ambassador Catherine Phipps, Dr. Nada Claire Pasco, and Chantal Simpson ordered that Hunter's practicing certificate be restored. Wonderful judgment. The ruling was handed down on Wednesday. It follows submission by Hunter's attorney, Hugh Wildman. Kudos to Mr. Wildman for this case. Really a wonderful win, right? And attorney for the Medical Council, Ransford Braham, KC, the Medical Council, right, through Braham, conceded that the appeal should be allowed, but requested that the disciplinary proceedings be retired. Relying on Section 13 of the Medical Act, Braham asked the tribunal to exercise its discretion to direct that the original disciplinary proceedings be reconducted by the Medical Council. However, Wildman rejected the proposal for a rehearing, arguing that the only just outcome would be to set aside the decision of the council entirely. Wildman further argued that the council had already shown wanton and callous disregard for Hunter's rights, right, as it relates to due process. He said his client had already served nearly the entirety of his suspension, and that forcing him to face the same body that originally found him guilty behind his back would constitute, right, to be a classic case of abuse of process. The Medical Council had accused Hunter of professional misconduct when it suspended his license, right? When he came to me and I found out what had happened, I immediately filed an appeal on his behalf because I thought that the appeal was a clear case of success. They had no choice. Wildman told the Gleaner, right, when he came, oh, okay. So let us take that away, right? And today I'm multitasking, managing the phone line as well for persons who are calling in. And there it is, as it relates to the sort of vindictiveness that went against Dr. Hunter. But we're glad that Dr. Hunter prevailed, right, and back in the space. And as I said, right, many persons feel hurted as it relates to that decision. And, you know, I mean, when you look on Dr. Carl Bruce, right, to be frank, my Jamaican people, Dr. Carl Bruce, as it relates to experience and knowledge, is nowhere equal to a Dr. Roger Hunter. But you know how Andrew Holness administration is. right? They don't deal with meritocracy. So the person with the skills, the talent, and the knowledge, right, would not be selected if they are not participating in corruption. And so they go with Dr. Bruce, Dr. Carl Bruce, and Dr. Carl Bruce, right, has many issues, right, and now seems to under the surveillance of investigation for corruption, right? So look at that. These are the persons that Andrew Holness want close to him, right? And so you can see the syndicate, right, of corruption. Now, let us go to what is going to be a bombshell, my Jamaican people, right? Because guess what? The former chairman of the UHWI decided that he's coming out. And he's happy, right, to be called in to testify, right, to give his argument at the PAC committee. And some things that is coming out of him. The man, Jamaica, the man is literally saying that there is several things wrong under the Andrew Holness administration. He's actually speaking that before he even go in front of the parliament, in front of the, the public accounts committee. He's saying that before. So can you imagine this man is willing to, I'm going to show you, Jamaica, some of the things, right, that the former CEO is saying, right, identifying the Andrew Holness administration, you understand, to be nothing more than corrupted. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that, Jamaica? Let us bite into that and show the world clear corruption. Now let us dig into this. Right? Let us dig into this, my people. Okay, yes, here we have it. Now, Jamaica, look, let us bite into this, because this is just highlighting the serious corruption, and this is April 15th. Today is what? Today is the 17th. Today is what? The 17th, I believe. So day before yesterday, right? Here it is. Former UHWI board chairman Chai Chung ready to face PAC. So this man is not backing down, right? This man is not. Oh, did I miss that call? Woo. Sorry, caller, because you know, as I said, I can. Okay, another call is coming in from New York. This call is coming in from New York. Caller, because you know, as I said. Yes. I can. Okay. All right. Turn off the device, caller. Caller, you have to turn off the device. Turn off the device, caller. Okay. That caller don't ready. Former UHWI board chairman Chai Chung ready to face PAC. Let us bite in it. There he is. Here is Mr. Chai. Mr. Chai ready Jamaican people to talk up the things. Can you imagine what that PAC meeting is going to be like, Jamaica? Remember, you all need to tune in, you know, right? Because this is going to be interesting. Now, here it is. This is going to be very interesting. Former University Hospital of West Indies board chairman Wayne Chai Chung, who alerted the country to alleged procurement breaches in 2023. Okay, remember, you understand, this man is not someone who tolerating corruption at all. This man, as it relates to him alerting, right, the country, as it relates to alleged procurement breaches in 2023, I didn't even know that, right? Say he is ready to face Parliament Public Accounts Committee. Bangarang, you know, people. Bangarang. Let us get into it. Open quote. I would accept the invitation if I am asked. Well, you are asked. You are asked, sir. So we know that you are going to go because you are so eager to go and deliver for us, right, what you know. Thank you for that. Chai Chung told the Gleaner on Tuesday after the committee approved the move on Tuesday. Wonderful move as it relates to Julian Robinson, right, calling for Mr. Chai to come in. PAC chairman Julian Robinson said the committee will formally write to Chai Chung, current CEO Fitzgerald Mitchell, and former CEO Kevin Allen, inviting them to appear before lawmakers at the next meeting on April 28th. So people, I've got to line up yourself for that, because that a bangarang. Now, the Jamaica Custom Agency has also been summoned. So, Jamaica, remember, at 2026, Jamaica Labour Party is going to collapse. Jamaica Labour Party is going to collapse. Michelle told the Gleaner on Wednesday morning that he had not received any communication from the Parliament of Jamaica. I wonder if this have anything to do with, Flavor, not being comfortable to wanting to hold the post of Minister of Finance. What is going on, Jamaica? But I am telling you, right, bangarang, right, the whole thing out to collapse, right? It is the Jamaica Labour Party administration is corruption overloaded. Corruption overloaded, so everything seems to be crashing down now. That's for further thoughts. He said when asked if he would accept the PAC's invitation. After the audit report was released in January, the hospital announced that Michelle went on 3 months leave to facilitate an independent investigation at the region's premier teaching hospital. The Gleaner has sought a response from Allen. The PAC's decision comes as lawmakers intensify efforts to obtain critical information linked to findings in an Auditor General's Department report, and many more left to come. Now, that report found that UHWI awarded $521 million in contracts without essential procurement documentation. People want to listen. We can listen to the juice of this information. The report found that UHWI awarded $521 million in contracts without essential procurement documentation and identified systemic breaches of government procurement guidelines, including unapproved contract variations and missing records. Now, the audit also cited after the fact by bidding and the alleged misuse of tax exemptions to import goods for 4 private companies. We learn about that. Jack them group of companies: Supreme Laundry Services, Scientific Medical Services, and Williams Sales Company Limited. I'm wondering if this Williams Sales Company Limited have anything to do with Donovan Williams, because you know that Donovan Williams is a person who hides shares, you understand, for the corrupted politicians. So I'm wondering if Williams Sales Company has anything to do with, Donovan Williams, because you know how their thing go, them normally name certain shell company for them name, and design it away. You understand? So I'm just wondering. No, I don't have any evidence that that is so. Let me put that out there clear. I don't want anyone being saying that, okay, it is Donovan Williams company. We don't know. I am just saying, if it because of the name, the similarity in name, we are wondering if any link or any connection, whether direct or indirect, there. Quite interesting to for the probity to go on and see what you can prove there, if that company may have connected, or whether directly or indirectly, to Donovan Williams. Interesting. Jack Dem is led by MP Dennis Gordon of the opposition People's National Party. The report released in January made no adverse finding against Michelle Allen or Chai Chung, right? Because Chai Chung seems to be, right, a quite innocent people, a quite honest person, because he's calling out the things, Mr. Chai Chung is calling out the things. Now, from the first meeting that we had 2 weeks ago, it is apparent to me that the current management of the university hospital is not in a position to answer many of the questions that we have related to the operations of the university hospital, Robinson said during UHWI's second appearance before the committee on Tuesday. And remember, yesterday I was saying I don't understand why, Green, right, has been there in the PAC. It should not be Green, it should be Dunstan Brand, and rightly so, right? Because what Green is going to answer as it relates to corruption. Green being employed 2024, right? And then Dunstan Brand has been there from 2016 up until 2020, or 2023, he took away himself when the Auditor General started to investigate, right? Took away himself and claimed that he went on study leave. Obviously, hiding, right, as it relates to unable to explain the high level of corruption that related to billions of dollars, over 800 billions of dollars, you know, over 800 billions of dollars. So I am saying that Dunstan, right, Dunstan need to Dunstan Brian need to come forward, right? The PAC need to subpoena Dunstan and let me say, because he's not out of the island. So any argument or any rumor that he's off the island and doing study leave, he is right here in Jamaica. I witnessed him with my 2 eyes. He's right here in Jamaica, right? So he need to come forward. Now, let us get into what Chai Chung is saying. Chai Chung, who served from November 2022 to December 2023 when he resigned, right? So that basically is just a 1 year sting. But when I look on it, Jamaica, I could just argue this for a little bit. So Chai Chung went in, who served from November 22 to December 2023, right? And I'm asking, what is the thing that he realized that shoved him out of there so fast? Not even 1 year, less than 1 year, right? And then he was able now to speak about corruption and several little things, right? So then if Chai Chung went there 1 year and realized all the corruption, all the mess, then I want to know why Christopher Tufton, right, did not see this. Christopher Tufton did not see this, who being the minister, right, from 2016. And you have Chai Chung, here it is, people, Chai Chung, who served partially under 1 year from November 22 to December 2023, right, when he resigned, had previously defended his tenure. There it is, the man defending his tenure, arguing that his brave, you hear what he said now? His brave board sought to implement reforms aimed at strengthening governance and operational efficiency at the institution. So what is he saying? What is he saying to us, Jamaica? That when he went there in November 22, right, there was no good governance. There was no strong, measures or policies or strong oversight. Let's use the word oversight, right? Put in place, no strong measures put in place to strengthen governance and operational efficiency. There were so many weaknesses and breakdown. We could get into it, we could break it up. And this man couldn't take the level of corruption there. He totally tendered his resignation, you understand, and exited. And now he is willing to come forward to speak of the corruption. Mighty God, we said, Jamaica, believe you me, this not safe. This not safe. In a statement issued after his resignation, hear it now, people, he pointed to long-standing internal weaknesses. Want to hear that, Jamaica? We could bite in on what the man is saying now. Let us bite in. Let us bite in as it relates to the systemic corruption what the man talk about, Here it is. In a statement issued after his resignation, he pointed to long-standing internal weaknesses, including alleged procurement irregularities. People see that. See that. And apparently when they try to fix it, they don't want him to fix the corruption. They don't want him to fix the corruption, so he must take for himself. Look at it. Here it is. In a statement issued after his resignation, he pointed to long-standing internal weaknesses, my God, including alleged procurement irregularities, suspected payroll fraud. Woo! People, can you imagine what this man is going to tell at the PAC? Can you imagine, Jamaica, you have to tune in. Suspected payroll fraud that led to arrest. Whoa, we just take time break it in. suspected payroll fraud that led to arrest. We never know them something, you know. And major deficiencies in billing and collections, where more than 30% of potential revenue was either written off or not collected. On hear them something the people. On hear how Andrew Holness run things. On see how Christopher Tufton run things. That's why you have likes like Market Me can take place. Now, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton, who dissolved the board after Chai Chung's departure, cited a clash of personalities and dysfunctionality among the reason for the move. In no one talk to the corruption of the man witness. Chai Chung, however, insisted the disagreement were over his board's attempt at reform. No, hear that now, people. No, listen now. I see how Christopher Tufton up now, they come out and I try to put it up and I tell lie, but clash of personality and dysfunctionality. Look how Christopher Tufton, and this is the thing with Christopher Tufton, right? Doesn't want to take blame and yet involved in high-level corruption. Now, it is the same. Christopher Tufton in Jamaica came out and said never in the history of any administration, right, that moved the LK budget from $64 billion, to $147 billion, But the question that we are asking, where is the money? Where is value for money? Where is the value for money? Right? He can't explain it. And so then now, him, right, make sure say Dunstan Bryan, right, wiggle himself from out of the situation in terms of not answering questions. That's why Mystic Sensation is asking, right, the PAC to summons Dunstan Bryan. Dunstan Bryan is in Jamaica. Dunstan Bryan is in Jamaica, and Dunstan Bryan is not on any study leave. So this is the criminality, people, with Minister Christopher Tufton, the criminality, and see Chai Chung, they talk to because he want to tell lie upon Chai Chung, and so here why I say, see the lie I tell upon Chai Chung, say a clash of personality and dysfunctionality. Well, Chai Chung, I tell him, say he's a liar. Chai Chung said, however, insisted the disagreement were over his board attempt at reform. They did not want him to stop the corruption. This is plain. They did not want him to stop the corruption, including hiring a top-tier professional from abroad and a CEO. He also said Tufton overruled a board decision to replace Michelle as acting CEO with another senior official. You hear that, people? You hear that? We now make up this. You hear that? Now, last week, Tufton said the issues at the UHWI reflect long legacies and dysfunctional culture within the university system. But guess what? You put the man under pressure, right? So that the man resign, because the man now want to clean it up and now want to clean up to show you how you corrupt, how you corrupted Christopher Tufton. Let me start from share this. This goes to show you the level of corruption, what you are doing to taxpayers. You understand? And here you go. Here's the evidence. No value for money. And guess what, Jamaica? We are going to hear from Chai. We are going to hear from Chai, right? Several bangarang is going to happen in the PSC, but this is clear, right? We are not making up this. This is saying to all of us that Chai Chung, right, being employed under 1 year between 2022 and 2023, and within the 1 year, Chai Chung was able to observe the high level of corruption and making move as it relates to his board to clean the corruption. But what them do? Them put him under pressure. So it goes to show you that Christopher Tufton you understand, is supporting the criminality. Christopher Tufton, you understand, involved in the level of criminality, right? And so then this is the problem that we have, and that is one of the reasons why, my Jamaican people, that the healthcare system cannot account for over 800, it going over $900 billion now, the last time I checked it. You understand? They cannot give an account for over 920 billion. But let us think a little, right? And, you know, open our cranium a bit where that is concerned. $920 billion cannot be accounted for within the healthcare system. 900 billion. No, Cornwall Regional Hospital again. Look at talk, people. Right? And you can see the, look, you can see the tolerance for the corruption. Let me show you the tolerance for the corruption. In 2016, when Cornwall Regional started, as it relates to refurbishing, let me put it up, refurbishing, right? A cost analysis was done. Christopher Tufton would have aware as it relates to the cost analysis, right? Because his ministry is going to do the procurement and that. So there's no way he can't be aware. Now look, I'm going to show you Christopher Tufton tolerance as it relates to criminality and corruption. So the first cost analysis came into the ministry at $2 billion, right? To costings, labor, material costs, and so forth, right? To finish the refurbishing. $2 billion in 2016. Now, after the $2 billion fully utilized, right? Cornwall Regional Hospital still unfinished. Another cost analysis was done. And that cost analysis resulted in 100%, right? More 100% expense added to the previous. So it left from 2 billion to 4 billion. Now, it is Dr. Christopher Tufton, you know. It's Dr. Christopher Tufton, right? At the helm of the ministry. And you are going to tell me that, okay, expenditure costs double up by 100%, and you don't solve the problem in terms of, right, try to dig into it to find out the issues. But guess what? Christopher Tufton allowed it. He allowed it. As a matter of fact, it get worse. He went and they had done another cost analysis. People, guess what? That cost analysis from 4 billion to what? 9.6 billion Jamaican dollars. Can you believe it, people? So what Chai is saying about Christopher Tufton is true. Chai is saying to us all Jamaica that Christopher Tufton doesn't want to eliminate corruption. That is what Chai is saying, you know. That Christopher Tufton is a part of the corruption. Christopher Tufton doesn't want for Chai board to clean up the corruption. They pressure him to go because he's not their guy where corruption is concerned. Now, here is Christopher Tufton now at 9.6 billion, another cost analysis. Still left Cornwall Regional Hospital not completed. Guess what? He's now bidding for another cost analysis. For what? $23 billion. Jamaica, we now make it up. Jamaica, we are not making it up. And here is Christopher Tufton went out on political campaign that no other administration had performed excellent like Andrew Holness administration. Damn right, because Andrew Holness administration, you understand, allow you to thief. Which other administration was going to do that? Which other administration was going to allow you to tea like that, Christopher Tufton. We should have administration. And cannot account for it. Now, the appropriation account that's supposed to record every expenditures. Dunstan Bryan can't submit it. From 2016, come straight up to 2023 when he exited. He can't find none of the appropriation account. Well, you see the explanation given, but not tell lie or flood, right? Take out document and damage document. And no one have to backtrack. You understand? And the lies. Well, let me tell you something. When Chai Chung come, I go bang around. Because Julian Robinson will be asking all the pertinent questions. And trust me, Jamaica will be cocking our ears to listen to the bang around that is going to come. Now, Jamaica Labour Party, government, let me tell you something. What Christopher Tufton had done with our healthcare is despicable. Outright Satanism, outright evil, and I am glad, I am so happy that Chai Chung is coming out to say that Christopher Tufton, because that is exactly what he said, that Christopher Tufton, right, partially get rid of him to the fact that he's making effort to clean up the system of corruption. He has to resign under 1 year. Because Christopher Tufton doesn't want checks and balance there. Christopher Tufton doesn't want the corruption to be cleaned. So then now this goes to show you that Christopher Tufton needs to be investigated, properly audited. A forensic auditor needs to deal with Dr. Christopher Tufton. Right? A forensic auditor, right, needs to deal with him. Because clear as it relates to what Chai's saying, it is that bad. Now, let me show you the link of the criminality and the corruption in terms of Dr. Carl Bruce and the reason as to why they would prefer a Carl Bruce there more than a Roger Hunter. Because Carl Bruce, right, mix up in the criminality with them and they love that, right? So, you know, as it relates to the drill, the 31 million and other things, Meditech, the whole system of corruption, so they're comfortable. Christopher Tufton, comfortable with a Carl Bruce. And it is going to be now an headache to them to the fact that Roger Hunter no return. So you know that checks and balance is going to be provided there. They don't want that. So it's just like now you spear a dagger right through their heart, bringing back Roger Hunter right in the beef of things. And Roger Hunter is not someone who they can corrupt. So right then and there, Roger Hunter, right, get back into that space, right, is now crippling the Jamaica Labour Party level of criminality, right? Carl Bruce now under the gun. But since I'm speaking that, right, now let me show you evidence that I'm just not accusing Dr. Carl Bruce. I am telling you that Carl Bruce, right, mix up in the criminality and mix up in the corruption. Make we get into this other document because you know, say Mystic Sensation don't do anything, you know. And we don't have, we look back up, you know, because, you know, I mean, we have to make sure that we stay away from legal issues and we don't speak loosely around here. You understand? We make sure that when we speak, we are measurable, right? Anytime you hear Mystic Sensation come out and say, you're criminal, you're criminal, you're criminal, you're criminal, Mystic Sensation, know that you can't sue him, you're criminal. Now, let us look as it relates to Dr. Carl Bruce. Let us get into that. Now, look at this, Jamaican people. And this is an investigation done by Zara Burton. Look on the level of corruption. People see it here. the level of corruption, nepotism, cronyism, and skullduggery. Now you see the reason why. Let us go back to what we are talking about. The reason why the Christopher Tufton and Andrew Holness, right, don't want a Roger Hunter, right? They prefer a Carl Bruce. And when you look at both persons, there is no way Carl Bruce can put himself in Dr. Roger Hunter's shoes. Dr. Roger Hunter, right, is more than qualified. As a matter of fact, Jamaican people, let me tell you, the qualification that Dr. Roger Hunter have is the only person in the entire Caribbean basin. I want people to listen to me. I want people to listen to me. The certification and the qualification that Dr. Roger Hunter has as a neurosurgeon, right? No other doctor in the entire Caribbean has that. And this is the person that Andrew Holness, Christopher Tufton, Carl Bruce want to fight out. Because simply why? Why they want to fight him out? Because he is not in line with the corruption. He is working for the people to benefit the people. He is not with the corruption. And so they try to get him out. Just like what they did, right? With the person who is going to be testified. That we just spoke about. I don't remember his name. Right? And they employed him for 1 year. They realized that he's a little bit too nosy, right? It seems like he wants to clean up the corruption, so they get him out. Right? Well, it is a similarity that they had done with Dr. Roger Hunter. But guess what? The chicken coming home to the roost. The chicken coming home to the roost. So let me show you as it relates to why they want Carl Bruce to be there. Because he's corrupted. And they love the money go under the table. Right? And they work the money under the table and the corruption and the money. You understand? And they all agree to rob taxpayers. And come out and spin it on PR. That them lift the LK budget from $64 billion to $147 billion. While they rob the money and put in them pocket. You understand? Dr. Carl Bruce, Andrew Holness, right? And Christopher Tufton, that's what they are doing. Now look, record point to family link between UHWI, Medical Chief of Staff, and Meditech, raising conflict of interest question. You hear that, people? You hear that, people? So when we say they love Carl Bruce because Carl Bruce corrupted like them. No, Dr. Carl Bruce, Medical Chief of Staff at the University Hospital of the West Indies, appears to be related to a principal of medical technology. You hear that, people? Meditech Limited, a medical equipment supplier that has done tens of millions of Jamaican dollars worth of business with the state-supported hospital based on record reviewed by who? 18 Degrees North. So you see the level of corruption. You see the direct procurement contract. You see how much millions of dollars being awarded, right, to Meditech. And here is Carl Bruce related to the owner. You can't make up this, people. I know we they say them something, I know. No. The apparent family relationship identified through a genealogy search at the Registrar General Department, you hear that, people, and other sources raises question about whether Bruce had a duty to declare a potential conflict of interest given his administrative role, right, and board position at the UHWI. So what seems to be happening, right, in order for him to benefit, right, allowing the contract to go to, right, his family member, you hear them something on paper. Now, it also revives long-standing question about who controls Meditech and whether Bruce has or had any financial connection to the company of which he has denied ownership. Now, let me remind you something. Remember, say Donovan Williams mix up in a this. Remember, say Donovan Williams mix up in a this senior. See the canatis here? See the nepotis here? You understand? See the chronic capitalist here? See the corruption you see the people? See there? Dr. Carl Bruce, the whole corrupter. Now, question about Meditech ownership structure date back to 2016 share dispute in court. Uno look on the bangarang, you know, look on the nastiness, you know. And Dr. Christopher Tufton know everything about them and nastiness, you know. Where it emerged that the company had a silent partner. Jamaica, who is the silent partner? Who is the silent partner? Make go down in the story. An interlocutory injunction granted in that case before the substantive issues were heard, restrain the parties from publicly disclosing the silent partner's identity before the trial commenced, citing a prior agreement between the parties due to a potential conflict of interest. Now, listen, people, the injunction didn't explain the nature of that conflict and only referred to the individual as individual A. Want to hear that, people? Individual A. Who is individual A? Donovan Williams went to length and breadth to protect individual A. Now, the injunction describes the silent partner as a lender or investor, which suggests the financial relationship may not necessarily be one of shareholding. It further describes the individual as a cousin. People who look at cousin of Trudy and Ricketts, a shareholder and director of Meditech. You hear this, people? You look on the corruption of people. It further describes the individual as a cousin of who? Trudy and Ricketts. And who is Trudy and Ricketts? A shareholder and director of Meditech. Family ties. We could go under the family ties now, people. At the time of Meditech incorporation in 2007, Ricketts listed as a Pepper Street, St. Elizabeth address when her ownership of 5,000 of the company's 50,000 issued shares was recorded. Bruce, a neurosurgeon, also appears to have family ties to Pepper. Look how good on it now. Look, we have good on the corruption in the people. With the funeral of his mother, Phyllis Adina Bennett, being held there in 2024 according to a funeral program obtained by 18 Degrees North. So they're my family. And Donovan Williams, the I'd share for one of the big man them, you know. Whether it is for Andrew Holness shares, or the shares belongs to Christopher Tufton, what a bangarang, or the shares belong to Carl Bruce himself. You don't know what I say, people. You don't look for the bangarang now. And if the shares belongs to Carl Bruce himself, simple means Carl Bruce is making benefits of the procurement, giving himself contract, you know. People don't see the corruption as well. Hey, me say people are going to prison. People are going to prison. Remember in the Jamaica Labour Party, I want to know. You don't control the PAC and you don't control the PAAC when you could cover all them things, I know. You can't cover them things. All of the probity belongs to PNP now, you know. A bangarang you know. What me say you know? You in some deep water mess, you know. You in some deep water eco-line. Now, genealogy records at the RGD reviewed by 18 Degrees North indicate that Bennett was the aunt of Michael Ricketts, Unuyera people, Trudy and Ricketts' father, which would make Bruce and Ricketts' first cousin once removed. Hear that, people? Bangarang, you know. Now, Ricketts became a Meditech shareholder and director at age 19. Hear that? And at the time, was listed as a venture capitalist and businesswoman. According to her LinkedIn profile, since removed, she graduated 4 years later in 2011 from the University of Technology, Jamaica, with a bachelor's degree in business administration. Up to January 2026, her profile listed her as the office manager of Meditech. People, want to see the corruption? Want to see the corruption? Now watch out now, people. The ownership question, we could go in. The injunction gave two competing narratives about how Meditech was formed and financed and why its ownership structure remains opaque. According to an affidavit cited in the injunction from Atal Hamilton, another Meditech director and holder of 5,000 shares, they are showing the systemic corruption, He having a background as a biologist, and Ricketts was seeking a business opportunity around 2007 when one of Trudy's cousin, also described as his longtime friend, suggested opportunities in medical supplies. Watch out, people. That is one of the reasons why, you understand them, the one Dr. Roger Hunter did there. That is one of the reasons why they have to get rid of Dr. Roger Hunter. You understand? Because Dr. Roger Hunter know all of them something, right? And Dr. Roger Hunter, you understand, willing to spill the milk. Now, Hamilton further stated that the individual later advanced funds to Meditech, people taking the corruption, Meditech, but didn't want to become a shareholder due to concern about a potential conflict of interest given his status at the time. So them know, so them are dealing with criminality, As a result, it was agreed between himself, the silent partner, who is a silent partner, and Winfield Boban, a business associate of the silent partner, hear that, people, that Boban would hold some shares on the silent partner behalf as security for the advances. Hear them something here? So let me ask the question. Is it Andrew Owners? Is it silent partner? Is it Christopher Tufton? Is a silent partner? Is it Carl Bruce? Is a silent partner? Any one of the three are still bangarang. Half dozen or six. Any one of the three are still bangarang. Half dozen or six. Blatant corruption. Reached by phone, Hamilton said he didn't want to speak with 18 degrees north. Or if you want to speak with 18 degrees north, you understand, when you have a solid investigator under your ass. And you don't want to speak, you don't want broke out, you don't want let the puss out of the bag. Who let the dogs out? You don't want the dogs to come out. No. According to company documents, we could get down into the corruption, people. No, listen here. According to company documents, those 40,000 shares representing the majority of Meditech 50,000 issued shares at the time were in 2008 registered in the name of Boban. Hold on there. Jamaica people. What happened in 2008? Me are showing you the systemic corruption. Let me remind you something. Jamaican people, when you realize that. Now 2008, Andrew Owners take out ADMAT. At 2008, Jamaica, Andrew Owners take out ADMAT, and buy up all of the properties them, and have ADMAT registered in St. Lucia, And here, see, we have 50,000 total shares in Meditech, But we have 10,000 issues, and 40,000 all up, who for the 40,000 shares? What a bag around going that place here. Jamaica, no see how taxpayers' money being taken out and sharing up under the table. You know, so the man them are dipping at the treasury. You know, so Darrell Vaz just gone in, nobody can tap him in, just dipping at the treasury. You know, see shell company created and then just dipping at the treasury. Now, watch this now. This was the same time Andrew Owners, right, created ADMAT, and Jamaican people, the next thing I want to tell you now. You know, so the same year, Andrew Owners joined SSL. People don't watch for the bank, no look for the leverage. 2006, Andrew Owners joined Oland. 2007, Andrew Holness joined Cash Plus. 2008, Andrew Holness joined SSL, right? And also make Patrick Bailey open AdMat in St. Lucia for him, and where him use AdMat and buy up all of the properties, and then come back now, right? And transform AdMat into Imperium. You understand? For lose investigators off of the trail. You understand? This is money laundering 101 enough, people. Money laundering 101. But Andrew Holness has to explain the original source of funding. And that is what we are tracked. That is what FID is tracking. That is what the Integrity Commission investigators are tracking. Now, in 2009, the shares were then transferred to Jamaican attorney Donovan Williams. Now, people, look at that. Remember, you know, Donovan Williams' brother controlled KSMAC at the time, you know. And the Donovan Williams, right, involved in Andrew Holness Jamaica Positive Foundation, you know, as a secretary, you know. And not only that, you know, remember that Donovan Williams also is a secretary in an estate bridge that belongs to Andrew Holness, you know. Remember that Donovan Williams also a secretary in Omega Finance, you know. Remember that, you know. See the corruption them a roll out here, you know, people. Make we talk, you know, people. Make we reason this morning, you know. See all of the corruption that spread out here, you know. In 2009, the shares were then transferred to Jamaican attorney Donovan Williams. You remember, say, Rosie come out and Rosie say, no, me have to leave off of Donovan Williams, you know, and go up on the GLP, you know. My Jamaican people, I could have what Rosie know. Rosie said, Donovan Williams, no, GLP. Andrew Holness, no, me have to left off of Donovan Williams, you know, and go up on the entire GLP, you know. Because no have nothing for me, you know. Me have the whole of no ticket, you know. I said that Rosie saying, you know. So Rosie, I tell me, you know, Jamaica, the dark secret and the corruption that linked with Donovan Williams. So me I ask you one more time, Donovan Williams. Wish you break policies, you know. You break the line, you know. Because under the new amendment, as it relates to shareholding, you're supposed to identify who the shares belongs to, which you have not, you know. You don't listen to Jamaica, which you have not, you know. Me say you don't have to go to prison. You don't have to go to prison. So you see where Donovan Williams becomes a formidable instrument in Andrew Holness corruption. And as such, him is the secretary, the primary secretary that oversees Andrew Holness corruption. You see why they would have to do everything in terms of stealing the election to make Donovan Williams remain to do what? Offer protection for Andrew Holness because of what he knows and the corruption that he involved with. Jamaica, this not look good. Jamaica, this not look good. See the paper. In 2009, the shares were then transferred to Jamaican attorney Donovan Williams, who became the member of Parliament for Kingston Central in 2020 and is now state minister in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. Let me take a look at petrol there. Let me take a look at petrol there and make the little thing that sing through my brain. Mighty God. Let me ease down the engine, people. Too much fire. They come out of the engine. Too much exhaust. Now people know look for them see there. Rose is a thief in Donovan. Criminal Donovan. Donovan, what the yappies them, they rob, and I give them money. Donovan, where the yappies them assist you in burning down the homes of people. So let me ask Andrew Owners. So Andrew Owners, you know, I'm not say about Jamaica, said to Jamaicans as it relates to this alleged criminal here. Eh? So this alleged criminal here, is he not going to face the Parliament Ethics Committee? We only we are only opening you guys up, show the world how corrupted and nasty and despicable as it relates to you and your owners. The high level of criminality, there is nothing honorable about you. Me no call you honorable. Remember me tell you that. Now watch this now. Bourbon, who sued Meditech in 2016 over ownership of the shares, offered a different account, claiming he and Hamilton and Ricketts, right, and the silent partner agreed to farm the company. Who is the silent partner? Who is the silent partner? He told 18 Degrees North in 2025 that the company was my concept and that Williams was merely holding the shares on his behalf because he wasn't living in Jamaica at the time. So you didn't come out and tell me lie. It's not clear how the share dispute was ultimately resolved, as the Supreme Court told 18 Degrees North the case is sealed. Want to seal it? Bang around people, the corruption. In May 2025, Williams, in a publicly released statement, acknowledged holding the shares in trust and said his lawyers were making arrangements to transfer them to the beneficial owner following the resolution of a share dispute in 2022. May I ask you a question again, Donovan? Jamaica, Donovan should be prosecuted for this because number one, right? And he should step aside and he should place before the ethics committee by holding the shares, right? And not identifying who the shareholder is. It's a crime within itself. That alone is a crime. And so then, why the entire Andrew Owners administration decided that, listen, they are going to break the laws and they don't care what nobody wants to say. Donovan Williams must not speak as to who the original shareholder is. Because of that, I'm not saying. Because you are also saying that it is government badness. And nobody now going to make we or tell Donovan to talk who the share is. They not break or not break the law. Let me ask you now. No openly they break the law. Isn't this, my Jamaican people, that these people are openly breaking the law? Because as it relates to the law, you have to identify who you are holding the shares for. So then let me ask, why Donovan Williams is not before the Parliament Ethics Committee? Why? Now, I have to ask the opposition some question as it relates to this particular issue. And let me narrow down this item. The item that I am making a request on, number one, based on the law, the established law, that if you are holding shares for any person, right, you have to make it clear in terms of identifying the person who you are holding the shares for. So let me ask the question. Does Donovan Williams done that? He has not. Why the Jamaica Labour Party administration failed to discipline Donovan Williams? Is it because that it is possible that he's either holding the shares for Andrew Owners himself, are either holding the shares for Christopher Tufton or either holding the shares for Dr. Carl Bruce. So Jamaica, this is corruption in the highest order. Now, a court filing in a separate case involving the Integrity Commission, to which all MPs have to report their financial holdings, listen up people, did reveal that Williams had disclosed holding the Meditech shares on Boban's behalf in 2020. But this may have been before the share dispute case was concluded. You hear that, people? As of January 2026 now, Williams had surrendered the 40,000 shares back to the company, though they haven't been reallocated to anyone. Why they have not been reallocated to anyone? Let us get into that. Because obviously, the right persons who own the shares not being identified. And so then all of this is still trickery, lie, deceit. We still want to know. Because obviously, Boban is not the person who owned the 40,000 shares. There was also a beneficial ownership form filed according to the company's office. However, information from that document, while accessible to government procuring entities upon written request, can't be accessed by journalists or the general public. They might hide it. Just to say they might hide it. Meditech drew public attention last year after opposition spokesperson and Dr. Alvarez Dawes alleged that the company overcharged the government Southeast Regional Health Authority Seaga for a neurosurgery drill and claimed Meditech denied and for which it sued Dawes for defamation. Right? Dawes claimed he was never served. Right? No. That Meditech had secured more than 220 government contracts in. You hear that, people? Listen now. Meditech had secured more than 220 government contracts in, worth over 200 million, 1.8 million US dollars between 2008 and 2020 from various public bodies, including Seaga. According to the Integrity Commission quarterly contract award database, 35 of those contracts were for UHWI, worth 68 million, 625,000 US dollars, and more than 80% of the UHWI contracts were awarded through process in which only a single bid was received, a practice permitted under Jamaica law in certain circumstances. Not in the circumstances, in certain circumstances. But Andrew Owen's corrupted administration manipulating the process as it relates to the level of criminality. Let me take this document away. Now, my Jamaican people, let us speak here as it relates to the high level of corruption in the Jamaica Labour Party. At some point in time, the fowl or the chicken is going to come home to roost, which we look to the fact that now the People's National Party, right, and I tell you, by the grace of God, now have, right, as it relates to those two oversight committee, the PAC and the PAAC, right, and the level of probity, right, to get to the bottom of things, Jamaica, I am telling you, it is not pretty for the Jamaica Labour Party. They did not want the opposition to have or to control the PAC and the PAAC. They knew very well that any day that it happened, things like these are going to come out. Things like these are going to come out, and a lot more yet to come. It's not normal, my Jamaican people. Now, we could get into further bangarang and corruption. Let me just take away this document. But Jamaica, when you look at the level of criminality and the way our taxpayers' money, you know, when you look at it, the level of wickedness, the level of cruelty, Andrew, and his administration, right, robbing the treasury. And the level of wickedness, let us talk about the level of wickedness now. Here, in terms of that this administration is out of control. We had gone through, right, Hurricane Melissa. And what Andrew Holness seems to be doing now is also find ways and means and creating bureaucracy to do what? Rob those people. Not giving the people the benefit that they are to get. The billions of dollars collected. Millions from sports entity. Babsy Grange again who collected. We had seen the People's National Party came out as it relates to checks and balance and give you detail of their collection. Let me ask Andrew Holness administration, what happened to the checks and balance? So then, I mean, you ask the Jamaican people, right, to put you into power, for you to come and do them this, although we know it's a thief the election. So you stole the election. Think of this, Jamaica people. This man stole the election and forced himself onto the Jamaican people and punishing the Jamaican people to the fact that the Jamaican people didn't vote for him. You know, say Andrew Holness is out of order. We know say Andrew Holness and Juliet Holness, very, very, very out of order. You know, say them rank. Now, we could get into some more details here. Now, watch this, my Jamaican people. Right? Now, no wonder why nobody not calling, because the number is not running along the thing there. I mean, I say, oh, me not get no call from. Hold on the people. And the number is not running across for people to call. That's why no one is not and I'm wondering why am I not getting any call after, you understand, we're putting certain ball over the boundaries. People, come on. We can straighten up the thing out. We could correct the thing out fast and quick. Now, let me just get into this. My Jamaican people, look at this.
It's not running.
I just told you. Okay, persons are calling. Yes, caller, Mystic Sensation online.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mystic.
Good afternoon, my dear.
I'm sorry. I'm just calling in regards to what you are discussing.
Yes.
And something that I saw on in Parliament today. The senators were debating the casino. Some bill that they're discussing in regards to the casino.
Yes.
And you can look at all these buffoons sitting down in there on the government side. What they're doing is trying to yap their way into having pleasing their master and becoming little pimps for this man, because I don't see any other word to fit in Andrew Holness more than he's a pimp. I heard that he is in New York. He was supposed to go to New York yesterday or the day before, so he might still be in New York. Pimping people's pockets to get money. What are you? Why are you doing all of this? You got money, and where is the money that they got for the hurricane?
That is the question. That is the question, my sister. That is the question. Nobody knows. And remember, you know, Mark Golin came out, right, and show precisely in terms of how much being collected and accounting for that. Why Andrew Holness can't come out and do that? No, turn off the device in the background, my dear.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Mystic. I'm sorry.
No, it's
sorry.
okay. It's
I
okay.
forgot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, man, it's okay.
My apology. I'm sorry.
Yes, man.
Go ahead.
Yes. So I'm saying, here it is that the opposition, you know, let me say this. When we talk about the opposition leader, right, I mean the high level of integrity coming from the opposition leader.
A very classy man. A very
classy.
Man.
It's amazing, right? Statutory declaration, submitted on time, right? Certified, right? The code of ethics, right? Mark Golden signed off, and not only that he signed off, he also instructed all members of parliament as it relates to the PNP to sign, right, the code of conduct. And you know, it is so awesome when you see the level of transparency coming from Mark Golden and the People's National Party. You know, it's so overwhelming, and that is one of the reasons why we are standing on the path of integrity, right? Checks and balance, and doing the thing that is quite transparent, right? And here it is that billions of dollars, my sister, billions of dollars. If you remember, right? You have this sports, I don't remember the name of the sports agency that had given Andrew Holness government $1 million, you know, right? In support of the people who suffered, you know. What happened to those monies? Mighty God.
And even though people were in Jamaica asking people overseas not to send any money to the government, protocol has it that the people still send the money, and the government, some of the private companies and private people who send money down there in the hands of Andrew Holness and his cronies, those monies are not accounted for because they're not going to put it on paper and say, this private citizen gave us $1,000 or $100. No, they don't have any accountability. And I saw from the moment this man put his wife as Speaker of the House, and then she is becoming chairman of this committee, chairman of that committee, chairman here. I want to bully everybody in the committees. I realized that there is a cronyism and whatever. But you see, Andrew, Juliet, Christopherson, and the one we name Chang, and the police commissioner, there is a lot. How many of them in there I was counting yesterday? They are full of hubris. That's all them. They're full of hubris. And Andrew and his wife and Christopherson and the whole of them, I'm calling out the names, they can do what they want to do. They are pimps. They're pimping the Jamaican taxpayers, and that's what they went there for. They don't care about people living in a proper condition. They don't care about people's education. They don't care how you want to go about yourself. You could sit down on the street and sleep all day or whatever. They don't care. Because why wouldn't you clean up the garbage out of some of the towns? Why won't you clean the garbage off the road? Why won't you fix the road that the people, these young people that I see cussing for Andrew are blogging and talking about Andrew is 1 p.m. is 1 PIMP, not 1 p.m. 1 pimp. The world's #1 pimp, if you don't want to know. Because guess what? You guys have not gone outside of this country, Jamaica, to look at roads in other countries and see how people drive. The other day, I saw Lonesome in Canada driving. When you look at the road, you want to believe it's a river. The way the road blue, pretty, nice. The man going to the doctor must be Monday or Tuesday. And when you look at the roadway that he's driving, and not even a pothole as big as the eye of a needle. And look what you people honoring Andrew for. You never see good road. You never see good road here. Look on the road there. I'm not honoring this pimp. About 1 p.m. I change it for now. It's 1 PIMP in bold capital letters. One big pimp. That's what he is.
Exactly.
If he was in Jamaica to help people, we could not be in this position of talking about him every day. He would have done something better to enhance the lives of the suffering people in Westmoreland. Because these people didn't vote for you, you treat them like piece of trash. But they're still Jamaicans, no matter where you go, what you do. We are all Jamaicans. And you hear what happened. This girl, I will never like the Jamaica Labour Party. Me say, I remember as a child, Buster Manti turn up and pull from platform and talk about, oh, selfish is better than education. This old dunce man. I will never forget him.
Exactly.
I mean, Mr. Tommy, I was listening. We didn't have TV them days. My father was playing the radio and listening to whatever. And I heard it. And I said to my dad, I said, Papa, what him say a while ago? And Papa said, listen. And the man repeated it. And my father tell me and said, he prefers saltfish and food over giving people a good education. And from that day, nobody can tell me anything about. And I was a child, a young child, just starting primary school. And you can't tell me nothing about Jamaica Labour Party no more. Because me realize that a pure wannabe crooks in there are crooks, full-blown crooks.
Full-blown crooks.
Mr. the big buffalo Idi Amin in a parliament today. And he was, him and the other one were named, what? God?
Oh, you mean in the Senate? In the Senate, not the Parliament, Senate.
In the Senate today. And they were mounting off Senator Brown. And I said, look at these two idiots. He called one, I think he called one of them imbecile. So this doctor will think he must have how many 1,000 degrees and think anybody afraid for him. Come talk about Senator Brown should apologize. Me say apologize for what? Them are imbecile and their leader is an imbecile for true. Because guess what? He's an imbecile, a pimp, a crook, a thief, everything that is bad. Because if you're not one of those words, go get yourself certified and stand before the Jamaican people as a good, just man. You can't walk in a Mark Golden shoes. I'm begging you, stop calling Michael Manley anywhere you go because you can't walk in a Michael Manley shoes. One pimp. That's what you are, not one PM.
One pimp. One
Yes.
pimp. I like that. And you're not lying, one pimp. That's what he is. That's so true.
And they pimp out the people, them man. Pimp them out. And the whole of them will follow behind him. Him send them out to go learn the word, to go learn the trade, and they're still pimping out other people. Look at this now. People have to go. You see the little bald head Charles him is the chip of the old black from his papa.
Oh yes.
Father from his papa. You understand? Same way Papa did take Gregish in a parliament and go and let them do anything. Not doing anything. Anything he's doing is to benefit himself and his family. He doesn't care about people. Why can't people get their pensions?
It's crazy.
Why can't the people get them pension and get it in time, those who get any at all?
Exactly.
Why people robbing people housing trust money? I want to sit down and not doing anything about it. Put them in prison. Or someone who forgot prison to go on help near me too. You see what going on with Dr. Bruce? What went on? I heard you talking about Dr. Bruce and what happening. I understand from a program I was watching the other day. All of them, like the leaders I don't want to call names, but some of them who are put at big positions in some departments, they carry in their cousin, their sister, their brother. So
Nepotism
there is no
system.
accountability, because the moment you go and open your mouth and talk, somebody is in there to erase the record. And I think that is what happened up at UWI.
Exactly. Worse than that happened. Fraud, all sorts of things happen.
No, but they carry in their friends and their cousins cousins and their brothers and sisters.
Yes, you're right.
So that is why they can't get to the bottom of the scandal at UHWI.
Nepotism.
Because too many family members working in the same department and they cover up for one another.
All right. All right. Let me just give you a minute to finish up because maybe other persons going to need to call as well.
I'm thankful for you allowing me to talk because sometimes these things bother me and I have
Yes.
to get them off of my chest.
All
Because
right, my sister.
As a Jamaican, I thank you, Melting Pot, Wayne Lonesome, and all the other bloggers who stand up for justice. But I am beginning at this point to wonder if the masses of Jamaicans want any better, or they just want a pimp who pimps them out and them say, oh, me can't bother you because I don't know what these people want.
Well, I tell you something, sister.
Man is,
I strongly believe that change is underway. A change is underway, and it might be earlier than what we expect. Right?
Well,
2026.
going to prison and the whole Dolly House broke up, the party shop popped down.
Yes, 2026 is serious for the
Unless
Jamaica
me see
Labour
that,
Party.
then me not go see no change.
All right, my sister.
Unless the party shop closed down. Thank you very much for allowing me.
Blessings. All right. All right, there you go. But you know, I honestly believe that 2026 is Judgment Day for Jamaica Labour Party. Yes, Carla, you're on Mystic Sensation Live. Please go ahead.
Greetings.
Greetings, my brother.
Thank you again for the hard work you and the crew been doing, sir.
Yeah, man. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the support as well.
Brethren, I talked to you a while back, and I mentioned to you that what really going on, you know what really going on down there is really genocidal. That these government here has been perpetrating on the Jamaican people. And the brother man said that he plays chess. So what really happened is that they're using the healthcare system to get rid of a certain amount of the population, because you go to the hospital, you don't get no health care, so you're dead. They use the security forces to get rid of the other portion. And if you notice, they're saying that the birth rate is down. But check out the people that this here government is aligned with. They're aligned with some people who considers poor people as useless eaters. And that's what really happened is that the government wasn't truly elected. Brethren, I was there. They stole the election.
Yeah, we confirm that.
And what really happened is that the people that really would have rise up against the government is what they do. They take time and them go inside of the neighborhood and they take out the influential people. That's what they do. That's why you can't see no big uprising. So it's up to the people living inside of the diaspora to help the people down there. They're suffering and they need help.
Well,
because this brother having foot on the neck of the Jamaican people. I mean, and him not giving no opportunity to breathe. And that's why, my brother, I thank you and the rest of bloggers for the hard work that you guys and the exposure and the way you guys exposing them. Keep it up, my brother. I'm a thank you and I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart.
thank you very much.
Talking as a man that love the piece of rock down there. I mean, know the way you do your thing and the passion that you put into it. I know say I love you hard. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, brethren.
Thank you, man.
Express and share the thought with you this afternoon. Thank you.
Well said. Well said. Boy, you move me heart though. I'm not lie. You just feel like You know, you're forcing the tears out of my eyes right now. Trust me, I'm not lie you. Yes, Carla, you're on Mystic Sensation. Can you? Yes, Mystic Sensation. You're on the live. Go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, my brother.
It's me again. I don't know if you recognize my voice. I called you a couple of days ago about that money laundering thing, and you know.
Oh yes.
And I see you just gave an investigative report from 8 Degrees North. She's such a superb journalist.
Yeah, very good journalist.
There were more journalists like her in Jamaica, you know?
Yes.
Diane Jackson, sometimes she's a piece of work. She could be, but I think she get touched, you know? But anyway,
yes.
I've lived abroad for over 30 years. I came home and I was in the health system when Portia was doing it. And public, because you know you're coming home to live, right?
Yes.
You want to see health system where go because you don't want to spend a bag of money. Went to the university hospital daily. It was very good, very good. I'm not lying. Even better than I'm in the state because I say I lived in there for 30 odd years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I see it decline.
All right,
you know?
all right. Hold it right there, Carla, because you're reminding me and you're dragging my memory also, right, to add to your argument, to support your argument, because you are now comparing the Portia Simpson administration in comparison to the Jamaica Labour Party administration. But you know what, Carla? Let me say something to you. The Portia Simpson administration, do you realize that it was only $64 billion was for the budget for healthcare?
That's what I'm saying.
Now look at this now. Look at this now.
Very good. I'm going there. You don't have to wait and say it was very orderly. You get the medication and stuff like that. Imagine you going to the hospital now. I've been in the state. You know, I can compare. Jamaica is I'm not going to say the third world country. Jamaica is there. This government could have made Jamaica in a first world standard, you know?
Yes.
Because I live there, I see it is how they allocate the money, how they wrap up the money, you know?
Fair enough.
Right? I'm going to the hospital now, and something wrong with me, like blood to be taken. I'm in my bed, you know? They come and question me about the dollar sign. You get me?
Mm-hmm.
About taking blood, and I'm like, yo, let's question me about the medication. You get pain medication, you have to go buy it yourself. You're in the hospital, you have to go buy your drugs yourself. You understand? This government have implemented that. Everything they give you have to go on the road to get it. You have to go on the road. You have to send a family. Go in a dying bed. You have to send the family out there. You know, it's atrocious, man. I don't like that. As I say, I like that damaging investigative report that he gave us today.
Thanks
again here.
Yes, man. Blessings. All right. I want to tell you something, right? And even the previous caller said in terms of how the methodology that Andrew Warnes is using to really eliminate Jamaican people. Well, you know, he defined it as genocide, right? And I understand, you know, as it relates to, you know, his perception, his opinion. However, when in terms of what he said, right, as it relates to how the healthcare, you know, being wasting a lot of our people, not giving, you know, proper healthcare, and the way how this administration use, right, the tax dollars, right, rob the tax dollars and cheat the healthcare system, right? I mean, the basic amenities are not in the hospital. Neurosurgeon drill, right? You name it, bed. You need not as simple as tissues, So then, of course, I have to understand the caller in terms of, you know, the amount of money that Christopher Tufton said his administration had increased the healthcare budget from $64 billion
as it relates to what Portia Simpson used to manage, and we used to have proper healthcare, not all that good, not all that perfect, right? But much better healthcare with $64 billion, right? And guess what? We never, under Portia Simpson administration, there was no travel advisory. So people, get back now to the, get back to the politics in terms of that, right? Just look at in terms of what I'm saying, because the caller that called me, right, the man just pushed my heart, right, in a different way, and I'm saying, that he's right. That he's right, though, because when you look at it, right, and for you to understand, for you to use a cranium around, you understand both administration and say, okay, all right, let us briefly look at this. The Portia Simpson administration, right, manage healthcare as it relates to the budget, $64 billion. Look at that. Look at that. And that $64 billion budget under Portia Simpson, Portia Simpson administration had never issued a travel advisory where United States, Canada, and England warning their people, right, to be extremely careful when they are coming to Jamaica because lack of proper health care. This is something that we all have to fathom. Come on, Jamaica. This is something that we all have to fathom. And then we brought forward, right, from 2012 to 2016, the ending of Portia Simpson time, and brought forward now from 2016, right, to, as we speak, Andrew Onless administration, three travel advisory had issued. United States, Canada, England, warning their people as it relates to traveling to Jamaica as their destination to be careful because of what? Proper health care. And that struck me hard. And why it struck me hard, I am saying, but how can this be when Christopher Tufton extended the budget from 64 to $147 billion? So then, let me try to fathom it. Did we spend a lot more to get a lot worse? How does that make sense? How can someone with critical thinking skill thinking that, why are we spending a lot more from 64 billion over a 220% increase for a lot worse? How do you fathom this? How do you fathom this? Let me just answer this caller. Yes, caller, you're in Mystic Sensation. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, caller.
Yeah, man. Get up on your live, right?
Yes.
Calling yesterday, but you say you never go on, you never talk to somebody, so I didn't call back. So.
Oh, okay. You're now live.
I was listening.
Yes.
Yeah, man. I listened to Emily Shield discussion about the group where harder the dishes for the Kingston Public Hospital. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, man. We are hearing you loud and clear now. You are loud and clear.
Yeah. So, it leads me to one thing: how serious and dangerous a judge on the trial would be. You see, because when I listen to her, she tried jack them, and everything in our discussion is not like jack them. It's not like jack them, right? So the group, when we get from our talking about the group, it's like the group they knew what was happening before it came out in the public, and they were trying to clean it up before the IC report, the integrity report came out.
Yes.
Because one of the lawyer that the company is using is a former IC commissioner. So he's saying that they pay the $900,000 where that the company pay over to the authority from last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can find Emily Shield on our page. So
all right, let me tell you something. Okay, let me just give you some clarity here. I don't know what Emily Shield said because I really don't listen to Emily Shield. But let me say this to you as it relates to the 4 companies. And when you look on the 4 companies, really and truly, right, as it relates to common sense and critical thinking, right, Jack them would have the less of the burden. And let me tell you why. Now, the company that they are not pressuring are the companies who had gotten tax exemption. And on top of the tax exemption, right, the company buy back the University of the hostel, right, buy back by times tenfold. Okay.
6 and 10 times for the money.
Okay, so you tell me who benefited from that? Because that to me seems like someone benefit under the table. That to me, right, is worse than Jack them. So for Emily Shields, let me tell you something. For Emily Shields and NNN, they are going to look, right, to spin to benefit. Remember, I know that Emily Shields have been given order of distinction, from the Jamaica Labour Party, crime minister. So what you expect? These are people who are eating out of the trough. So I don't want you to burden yourself listening to Emily Shields and listening to NNN. You are not going to get anything, you understand, with justice.
The lawyer that they are using is a former IC commissioner. And through that, so you can see the direction where they might go.
Exactly.
So them keep saying, no, him know how the process work and all this and that. But look what me don't understand. In a no part in our talking, them don't mention the 1.4 million where them pay for the plate and sell it back at 6.8.
They're not going to.
She keeps saying.
As I said, Carla, they're not going. Exactly. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry to be continuing.
She keeps saying, don't bother believe a little bit of plate, enough plate. So it's like she had tried to tell us that it worth the 6.8 million where they sell it for. And she keep emphasizing a plenty plate, no bother believe a little bit of plate. I said, what do these people? Look on, all right, look again when they now look on again. You have a meeting. And them, you see it on TV and them ask questions. And the board that is in charge of the university has that can't dispute none of where them the question them ask them, say, right? So if they ask you about what you pay for your plate and all of these things, and you can't say nothing no go so. How you know you and the lawyer represent them the group by the plate? I would say otherwise. And you're astonished because you don't know why them asking these questions. You don't know what? Remember, the person who buy the plate, them, have a contract where you get like before and going off is $3 billion with Seaga Hospital.
Exactly.
The hospital will fall under Seaga, That means the plate cannot feed. And him supposed to buy him one plate, but him do catering for the institute.
You're absolutely correct.
Right? So I am to buy a plate for Spanish Town Hospital and even Lindsay Hospital will fall under Seaga. Lindsay have a full kitchen staff. Me know Lindsay Hospital for myself. I know they have their staff, they cook their own food. So the $3 billion will fall where you get to fall under Seaga. Which hospital you are catering for? So it's a bag of corruption. Tough. When the people don't remember, you know, Tufton is the one where I insist that private sector to buy equipment and rent it to the hospital, you know. All people are telling them no, buy your own equipment, it's cheaper.
Yes,
so,
because you know what, you know why, Carla? Because them have their shell companies and they have their buddy friends and they have shares in the companies. So when them set up these companies to buy right from the hospital, right, they can overcharge and do all of the tenfold buying back and all of this, and them collect the money under the table. See the corruption, no? Follow the corruption. That's what they are doing.
Look, I remember when Portia Simpson was the Prime Minister, and the system that she used in the hospital from 0 to 18 was free in all medical institutes owned by government. From 18 to 65, you pay, right? From 65 till death, you don't pay. Even the working class from 18 to 65, if you did not have the money, they would write it on your docket and you could pay for little by little.
Yes.
And this government coming can tell you free health care and it is more costly than free, than when if you're not pay.
Under Andrew Owner's administration, you sick and go to hospital, you're more dead than if you stay at home. Remember me tell you.
But remember, you know, even up at the hospital now, you know, when you them like even the drill when them buy, you have to rent the parts for the drill to do your operation. If you have a bore and put the penny, you have to rent the bit for 70,000. Then there's something come out in the news. Right? So sometimes you don't even know if they can use that when you're underneath your job and you don't know what they're about to do. They can't tell you so them bore your foot and then rent. You can't rent parts where they be use, you know, and cost your next 100,000, you know. Because you don't have no way of know if them bore your foot or what they do. Because by the time you wake up on time, it drugs. That time of our gone already. And the same thing with the Thai chong where to come back. We need to put people on him to protect him, you know, because don't be surprised, you know.
Well,
don't be surprised.
Well,
if they get to talk where they talk, you know, over people in trouble. So is that a short case where we need these people to be protected. Like when you're in like. You know, like when you're in your job, man. And like when you're in farm and a job, man, and you have to put all that in protected.
Yes, them need protection for true, Carla. I do agree with that because
nothing them know, because even if you look at the program where the same thing where you just read by your program. She have it by their program. And nothing the man know.
Exactly.
The man did not try to clean up the place.
Yes.
And you don't want that.
Remember,
you know, a 10-year now, Tufton ministry no audit, you know. 10-year gone nearly at 900 million, you know.
Look at that.
You know.
Look at that.
And you don't want nobody to say nothing.
So you see the level of criminality. You see the level of criminality.
Andrew want to tell you now what parliament want Mark Wally them to give the okay to spend the country money without no oversight.
Can you imagine?
And I come a parliament to deal with the big man like a boy like the man I done. And the man 120 are the guideline in a parliament that Mark Wally write it. You know, so quick he cannot shell anything and come when he cannot take up his phone and tell us so this work.
But Wolano Carla, I'm glad you mentioned that because there's no other members of parliament in the history of parliament. You understand? Work on legislation like Mark Bowling. Not one of them. Not one of them.
Cannot shell anything you come. Remember what day when him write the emergency signal like when start where you go take with. And remember favor will come and attack and him have to tap him. Until he said, this way you do. How about 3 months to go value for? You need 2 years. And Shelley.
Mark Golden beat and teach Andrew Holness when him there in a parliament at show tantrum. With him overzealous self. You know, see him get beat and teach.
I don't need one Lord where my farm come. The man said, no, this is not that. Yeah, I read everything here, do a blind here, try, is a way here, try, what people fears.
Can you
You
imagine?
get the sign, yeah, but I'm before to do something where when on normal, because you can't spend the money and nobody can ask you no question.
Exactly. Exactly.
What kind of man that man?
All right. All right, Carla, I'm going to drop you off, you know, because you what happen now. I am coming back this evening because me now leave my people them. Last Friday, me never come back. I never go back in the evening. But this Friday, you understand, we have a double shift. So I want to finish this roughly about 3:30. So I'm willing to go. So let me have 3 more reports that I want to take the people through. Right. So may I give you another minute, right, to finish up. And if another person call. Okay. All right. So you're good though. Big up yourself, my brother. All right. Blessings. All right. All right. Really, really solid call. Right. You know, well, I mean, most of the persons, if not all the persons who call me, right, solid in terms of their opinion. However, let us get back to, right, as it relates to the seriousness and the high level of corruption as it relates to the Jamaica Labour Party administration, because believe you me, it's corruption after corruption. Now, when you look on some serious issue going on with the Andrew Holness as it relates to, right, the failure, right, in not collecting our revenue, and the Prime Minister himself, you know, is robbing the country's revenue, you know. Then you tell me where leadership is going. Where is the leadership? Where is the leadership? You understand that the revenue that we needed, that we need, you understand, to enhance social programs are, I mean, fixing roads, right? Fixing bridges, right? And help out here and help out there, right? Andrew Holness himself as a prime minister is robbing the country of that. Now, we could get into some more serious situation, and when we go on this side to show you, look here, if I didn't have the power, trust me, man, you don't put back your foot in the parliament, right? Because you're a disgrace. You're absolutely a disgrace. Don't tell me about that. You're a disgrace to the Jamaican people, right? Now let us look at this. Let us share this document. Right? UHWI tax debt raises question about ministry's oversight. It must raise question as it relates to ministry oversight. Now, we could dig down into it, my Jamaican people. This is just sickness as it relates to Andrew Holness. You understand? No, nothing about governance. Nothing about leadership. It's all about looting, robbing, going into Cash Plus, going into Olint, going into SSL, rob investors, mash up our healthcare, you understand, use the police force, you understand, to commit atrocity again. That's all of it. Everything that I said, and I'm referencing to that caller who called and said that, you know, it seems like, you understand, Andrew Holness is using these 2 mediums, the healthcare, you understand, to further suppress our people and the police force. You understand? Because to me, it is not the Jamaica Constabulary Force. We had lost the Jamaica Constabulary Force from 2016. I do believe that we had lost the Jamaica Constabulary Force from 2016. It is now Andrew Holness police force. It might sound weird or it sound like I am joking, but if you look in terms of how Andrew Holness seems to be micromanaging the Commissioner of Police, right? And no thorough investigation as it relates to, you understand, truthful and solid investigation into the level of corruption as the government, none being taken place by this Commissioner of Police. And the selective, prolonged hiring, you understand, of DPPs because the DPPs supported them as it relates to the status quo of corruption and bribed the DPP as it relates to legalizing, right, salary increase, do it via salary increase. So this is why I'm saying, him not play chess, you know. Him not play draft, him play chess. Because here what happened now? He did not physically bribe them. But technically, it's a bribe as it relates to the amount of money being offered. And the reason why that amount of money being offered to them is for them to look left. So it's a critical thinking skills that we have to use and understand the way how Andrew Holness operate in terms of when he said he doesn't play draft, he play chess. So these are the chess moves that Andrew Holness is definitely talking about. The chess move that he's talking about. The other chess move that he's talking about is to suppress and oppress the people because he knew very well that the people did not support him. So he can goes into parliament and he talks freely. You understand? Knowing that to the fact that, okay, when you go and give a member of parliament per constituents $10 million, he knows that he cannot do anything. He knows. He knows. And then of the gall in saying, that's plenty money. Again, as it relates to the relief aid, the amount of money you have gotten, $6.8 billion plus other, other persons who giving you money, right? Like sports entities and other, peripheral means of getting money, right? So when you put all of that together, you are only offering 10 billion Jamaican dollars to do what? To so-called build resilience as it relates to 113,000 homes being damaged. So this is what I am showing you that is way of playing chess. Is do the PR and wicked to the people and believe that you are not going to identify what you are doing. Let me tell you something. We all know what you are doing, Andrew Holness. You are evil, you are wicked, you are vicious, you are demons. You are Satan in personification. Indeed you are. Now let us quickly go through this. Now, economist Keenan Faulkner says more than 40 billion in tax, interest, penalties, and surcharges for which University Hospital of the West Indies is liable, represent approximately 15% of the total stock of arrears due to tax administration. Now, the situation, what tax administration of Jamaica is doing, right? Sitting on their ass collecting taxpayers' money. What are you people doing? You understand? You need to fling charges on the people, you understand, and bring them into court, right? But you are complicit. You are complicit with the Prime Minister criminality and corruption. At the same time, Damian Gordon, lecturer in the Department of Government at the University of the West Indies, says the tax liability issue at the UHWI points to broader concerns about oversight and accountability at the level of hostile administration, also the parent ministry, and also as it relates to the leader who is leading us. Right? He also participated in robbing the government, the country's revenues. Right? Robbing the country's revenues. And so that affect several social programs. According to Faulkner, it was imprudent that obligations could have been delinquent for so long that interest, penalties, and surcharges, just as one man saying, right? It was imprudent, totally not wise, that obligations could have been delinquent. What they're supposed to do, and it is a well-known practice of the Andrew Holness administration. Over 10 years, some ministry have not submitted appropriation account. They're spending time robbing through the process of direct procurement. Right? The Andrew Holness-led government is indeed a criminal. Andrew Holness, a criminal. Who no like me talk? Who no like me talk? The Prime Minister is a criminal and need to be kicked out of office. But we say any day Jamaican people find a sting there and decide to get up and march against the government here. You understand? It's a day you're going to recognize how serious Jamaican people is. Right? Them say every day the bucket go well, you know. Every day the bucket go well, one day the bottom is going to drop out. Now, penalty and surcharges eventually exceeded the original principal tax arrears balance. Because look here, you know, originally 18 billion, 18 how much them so 18 billion originally owed. 18 billion originally owed. Right? He said the relevant authorities should also continue to be empowered and appropriately resourced to carry out its mandate to collect where practical and feasible. Can you imagine someone work this dirty government, this man? Work this criminal government, man. Work this dirty government, right? Husband a thief, wife a thief, right? Everybody a thief in this administration. Every single soul, right? Stealing somewhere or the other. You understand? Hustling. You understand? And down to the propaganda media bite into the corruption. You understand? This is just crazy. Look at this, my Jamaican people. To show you, right? This is a real insult to all of us. Now, this is the reason why, right, this being allowed. Look at this. Look at the worthlessness. This is the Prime Minister. Look at the worthlessness. Look at the piece of slackness. This pickable man in a parliament. In a parliament. You know, hey, we say him have no shame, you know. Him not have no shame. That's why you see him going over so. You understand? Going prostitute out himself. You understand? Going in the beg. He don't have no shame. He can't embarrass. No moral compass. Nothing with ethics. Jesus, peace. Me never see nothing go so yet. You understand? The Prime Minister embarrassed every single Jamaican. Every single Jamaican. The man nasty to the core. Now watch out. Companies linked to owners file nil tax returns despite millions in transactions, says Integrity Commission report. Look on the worthlessness. Look on the worthlessness. September 1724. Look on the worthlessness, people. Look here. An investigative report into the statutory declarations filed by Prime Minister Andrew Holness has revealed that 3 companies linked to him, which had transactions totaling hundreds of millions of dollars, filed nil tax return for 2021 and 2022. I am showing this to say there is no surprise there when I see UHWI owe $40 billion. No surprise there. Them follow the leader. Them say follow the leader. Follow the leader. So that is what they are doing, following the leader. Mighty God, man. See there? A nil income tax return indicates that a company falls below the taxable income and therefore did not pay tax during the year. That means that the company never made no profit. But you don't look at now, people. In the 171-page report table in Parliament Tuesday afternoon, the Integrity Commission's Director of Investigation, Kevin Stevenson, raised tax compliance concerns. This is what they want on Jamaica. The report said the Prime Minister is connected with our ad financial interest in 3 companies, Imperium, Positive Media, and Estate Bridge. You don't remember, people. Donovan Williams, a secretary in all 3 of them. You saw the corruption link. Donovan Williams, a secretary in all 3 of them. So you know, say Donovan Williams understand all the corruption with the one with Andrew Holness. And that's why Rosie now upon him and say, no, make me have to come out for Donovan Williams and go upon the GLP because Rosie know the level of criminality. So, you know, watch out, watch the nastiness. People don't look upon the nastiness. World, the globe, you don't look upon the nastiness. The report said the Prime Minister is connected with our ad financial interest in 3 companies, Imperium, Positive Media, and Estate Bridge. You understand, but you don't look upon what I want to know. It said a forensic examination of bank accounts attributable to owners and the reference companies for the period January 1st, 2020 to June 13, 2023 reveal intercompany deposit. That means they are depositing it, you understand, between the 3 companies, you know, intercompany, between the 3 companies deposit are gone. and withdrawals of 473,161,000. Right, the very same company went draw nil tax fine. You said but we can show say the money are criminal. And you know, Jamaica, when we call him criminal, some people, oh my God, why are you doing that? Right? And you're doing that without evidence. See the evidence here. See the evidence here. $473 million money laundering 101. Money laundering 101. I remember when I do this, people remember, me remind you, when he was doing this, him sent $700,000 US Ghana Citibank. Mighty God. $700,000 US at Citibank. And look for the corruption again. Pull out $0 account in an NCB. For SSL, the criminal organization, the Ponzi scheme. Send how much $1,000 US in the back. Hey, Lord Jesus, please. Hey, me say, and the man, no shame. Me say the man no have no shame, man. Me say, trust me, man. The man no have no shame, none at all. The brother, you know, have no shame. Now, the report said the financial statement provided by owners indicate that in 2021, Imperium earned at least $5,121,105 in dividends, exchange gains, and interest. Now, let me ask Andrew one a quick question. What sort of business Imperium do? Let me ask, let me dig into your business as an investigator. What sort of business that Imperium do? Jamaica, remember that Imperium are ADMAT, Remember that ADMAT dissolved in Imperium, who want to follow the thing, What sort of business Imperium is doing? Shell company. Money laundering. Still, Imperium solely owned by owners file a nil tax return for 2021 and 2022. You see corruption. Look on the corruption, man. Look on the corruption. Imperium earn at least $5,121,000. And look at now. Still, Imperium solely owned by owners file a nil tax return for 2021 and 2022. And in the height of the pandemic, 2019, 2020, and 2021, he make most of his money, in the height of the pandemic, You just start being a lot of tricksters and canards. And we are pressure the people them and I charge the people them big money for if they break COVID rules. You understand? So the people them can't come out of them house because I know one of the people them say my thief. Now, positive media management accounts and statement of comprehensive income for 2021 submitted by owners indicate a total income, a total income of 20 million, Right? Right? The report said 20 million. But notwithstanding, positive media filed a nil tax return for 2021 and 2022 and see that the company make $20 million. And Imperium make over $5 million. And him sign in the same year, same period, him file for them nil tax. Same a robber. One more want to say a robber, I'm old thief. Andrew, you're a thief. You're a criminal. Indicating that the business had not engaged in any revenue generating activity over the 2 years of its existence. You see the plain line. For estate bridge management account, the report said the statement of profit and loss account for the year ending December 31, 2021, the same year, shows an interest income of $1,625,000. But yet in file nil tax. The report said despite this, Estate Bridge filed a nil tax return for 2021, which means that the business had not engaged in any any revenue generating activity in that year because they're a shell company. So how money I run through them? They are not active business doing business. How the hell $470 million they run through them? Let me stop and talk to the people. You tell me, people. You tell me, Jamaica. Clear evidence. So let me ask a question now. The real question. So the Commissioner of Police, you don't see none of that. No, you don't see none of that. You don't see none of that because Andrew are your boy. And you're the reason why you don't see none of that. Because Andrew advanced your salary from 6 million a year to 18 million. You're not going to lock him up for that. This is how the bribery coined under the disguise of a salary increase. This is how the bribery coined under the disguise of a salary increase from 6 million to 18 million. You're not going to see nothing. You're not going to see anything. Nothing. And this is how, let me ask the DPP, you don't see nothing either. The DPP, you don't see nothing. This is how Andrew Holness play the chess. This is how he play the chess now and win the game. Call the game. Under the disguise of salary increase. Lift the DPP pay from 5 million to what? 18 million same way. So the DPP that support him and the Commissioner of Police that support him getting the same salary increase. Under disguise of a salary increase. The salary increase wasn't so much about Andrew Holness because he don't really want it, a billionaire. But it's to pay off the members of parliament to silent, you understand, because they are in the corruption with him, and to pay, right, all of these critical entities to look left. To look left under the disguise of a salary increase. Mighty God of Daniel. But things are going to catch up with you, Andrew. Things going to catch up with you, Andrew. Remember that mystic sensation one here. Things are going to catch up with you. Now, I end the program here today because we'll be coming back live. Stay tuned as it relates to hotter vibes later. When, of course, Melting Pot and, of course, Lady Mystic will be on the burner. Right? Once again, people, I want to say big up and respect to you all to continue to support the energy of Mystic Sensation. Right? Always make sure that when we provide for you, we provide nothing but the truth. So help me God. Right? So we are saying thanks, many thanks for all of you who continue to support the Mystic Sensation. Love you all. See you later. Right? Blessings. I am out. Walk good. All right.
I know why you come to me with that foolishness, you know. You elect a prime minister, and is a prime minister run the country. It is time we learn to hold our leaders accountable for their actions and stop making excuses for them. Stop making excuses. Otherwise, go elect the people who really run in the country. And I don't want the right start that stupid argument. Hold the people you elect accountable and stop making excuses for them.